Welcome to the No More Mondays podcast, the show that inspires confident professionals by interviewing people who actually enjoy what they do for work. I'm your host, Angie Callen, and I welcome you to join me each week as I chat with founders, entrepreneurs, and employees who have figured out that special sauce, the magic, the mystery to having no more Mondays. Welcome to another special edition of No More Mondays with Winter Warmer number 2. I hope we're adding a little spice to your holiday season with these fun recaps of all the great things that came out of season 2. And today, Jane and I are going to chat about the words our guests give us for Mondays. I think that you'll find this inspiring because it's a little reminder of what satisfaction and happiness can look like at the start of the week if you ditch the Sunday scaries and embrace the No More Mondays mindset. So Jane, what's our first word from season 2?
This is the most unique word that we've ever had. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I'm so proud of you for doing that without singing it, because I don't know if I could. And while I want to go grab a spoonful of sugar and watch the original Mary Poppins more than ever right now. It's what an amazing word. And let's give a little nod to Vance, our Disneyfying business guest from season 2, for throwing out that unique word that is, I actually think, probably some combination of all the words that we've had for Monday. So it's a fun way to kick off this list. And it was funny this morning. I was in I came into the office, and I have an office in like a co-working space, and our community manager is actually a good friend of ours. And he comes in, his name's Bryant. Nod to Bryant. And he comes in every morning and kind of has coffee with me for the first 5 or 10 minutes before he gets to work. And so he says to me this morning, he goes, what's on the agenda today? And I was telling him about my day and telling him about the podcast. And he asked me what we were recording. And I said, and one of the lists we're going to talk about is the words that people say for Mondays. And he goes, my word for Mondays is coffee, which I thought was so fitting because we all know how much I love coffee and how it fuels every entrepreneur's existence. So I feel like that's a new addition to the list that everyone will love.
Oh, that's fantastic. Got to be caffeinated.
Yes, exactly. And especially if you're going to be supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Whew.
Well, and you have to be to spell it too.
I'm very impressed that you actually spelled this in our list of words. And you know what else is hilarious? It does not actually come up in spell check.
No, it doesn't.
Word recognizes it. Thanks, Disney.
Full disclosure, I had to look it up to make sure I spelled it correctly.
Full disclosure, I copied it out of Google. No, I'm just kidding. And as we move on to, let's say, more inspiring words than that giant word I'm not going to say again, and coffee, we definitely saw some recurring themes and some overlaps between our season 2 words and our season 1 words, including optimistic, let's go, and opportunity times 2. So definitely take that to heart for us for inspiration. But we had some more kind of unique words that came up this time around, in addition to supercalifragilistic. See, I knew I'd screw it up. And the first one was marinate. I love it. A 3-syllable word I can pronounce. Jane, what's your take on marinate as somebody's word for Monday?
I love this word. And it was so interesting during the conversation. I was marinating on the word marinate while the conversation was happening. And my take on this is that it allows you to tap into other parts of your brain that you didn't necessarily have access to maybe the previous week or as the week gets busier. So my take is that you're marinating other parts of your brain, and other ideas will come to the surface if you allow yourself to take that time to do it.
I actually love that take. I knew you would have a really interesting perspective on this word. And if you think about the fact that a lot of the words that come up in for Mondays are, I'm going to say, more of like adjectives or feelings, marinate is actually a verb. And if you think about I love to cook, when you put a piece of meat in a marinade to marinate it, the marinade breaks things down and it seeps into the middle, which totally is what you're saying, Jane, about that idea that if we sit on something, if we stew on something, if we marinate on it, it kind of permeates us and new ideas come and it softens us and changes the way our little meat fibers fit together. And so it can actually really change your not only your perspective on Mondays, but over the week as you take the act of marinating.
Yes. And it's sort of it's sort of an organic process. It's living and breathing. It's not, a zero sum game. It isn't A to Z. It's action.
Absolutely. And we all know I love action, and hopefully you're all living and breathing out there and can take the action of marinating. Our next word is actually a collection of words. Jane, what have we got?
Yes. So this is also interesting as we looked over the themes of some of the words. We've got 4 words that sort of live together in an ecosystem: refreshing, rest, reset, and fresh start.
I think this is so interesting because if you think about rest, it refreshes you, it resets you, it gives you a fresh start. If you think about a fresh start, it's refreshing. It's just so interesting how these all play together and kind of invoke that idea that Monday gives you a clean slate to start with. You're rested from the weekend, you're refreshed, you're ready to go, new perspectives, it's a fresh start. You've reset and you're kind of going into Monday as that idea of opportunity times 2 that we had both this season and last season. Or it almost reinforces that idea of like, I've got a fresh start, let's go. And it kind of roots itself in that optimism that was also a word both this season and last season. So it's such an interesting collection of words that I think really invokes, like you said, an ecosystem that kind of tells you a mindset and a feeling that represents how these people approach the week.
And it almost is sort of a step-by-step instruction manual how to get there, because you can't get to having a fresh start without starting resting.
Absolutely. I think that's totally true. And I think it goes back to the idea that if you're always on and you don't reset and rest, you won't ever feel refreshed. You won't have a fresh start, and you won't be able to approach the week with optimism. So I actually think as a collection, it becomes the strongest way to make sure you're taking care of yourself while also carrying that energy and enthusiasm into whatever you do for work at the start of the week.
One other thing I want to make sure to add to this conversation while we're talking about this ecosystem of words is it's also very intentional. It requires intention and thought to get there.
Absolutely. And the discipline to say, I got to tune out so that I can reset and be refreshed next week. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now we're going to move into, there's a group of words that we had not heard before. So the first one is money.
I thought this one was so funny, but if you really think about it, if you work a Monday through Friday job, especially if you're like an entrepreneur or a solopreneur who work, make money, don't work, don't make money, Monday's your opportunity to start bringing stuff into the bank. And if you're not leveraging opportunity, the money doesn't come. So I actually think, in a way, money is the output that is the tangible result of that really positive start to the week and the actions that come from it.
The next one is fun.
If you're having fun on Mondays, you better call me because I want you to be a guest on No More Mondays. It wouldn't be, just imagine what it was. 70% of Americans are unhappy in their job. Just for all of those of you out there who are looking for inspiring career stories to try to think about a change, just start with imagining what it would look like to actually walk into work on Monday, see your coworkers, be excited to see them because you have fun with them and you have fun with the work you're doing. Fun is definitely something to aspire to. And you might not have it all the time, but if you can say you're having fun in your work, you've won.
Okay, the next one is potential.
I love this word for Mondays because I feel like it is the all-encompassing kind of why you want to have fun, why you want to make money, why you want to be refreshed, why you want to go in optimistic. And that's because Monday, and we've had exactly this said behind this word, Monday provides kind of that new potential for the week. So potential to start a new habit and stack them like we talked about in the book Winter Warmer, or, whatever it is that you're trying to harness, that potential can come into play on a Monday. And depending on the actions that you back it up with can really provide a result. So I feel like it is an excellent end to this list because I feel in a way everything comes back to supporting the potential you have in the workplace, you have in your business, and you have in life.
How does this list of words encompass or reinforce the No More Mondays movement and really having a holistic view to that way of living?
Well, I think there's a couple things to that. First of all, the whole goal of No More Mondays is to support Career Bender's mission to inspire confident professionals. And I can tell people that all day long through coaching. Our families and friends can kind of reinforce that idea that, you can be happy in the workplace, you can reach your potential, you can grow in your career. But I think hearing these stories of people who've actually done it, these stories of people who have actually found a way to like what they do for work is exactly what No More Mondays is about. And these collections of words are just representative of how all of our guests have crafted a very intentional and satisfying career journey. And side note, I'm really surprised the word intentional has not come up, because I think it's also very representative of what's going on here. And I think the second thing that I'll add is from this perspective is I think that we lose sight of the fact that we get to have a life first, and really career and our professional aspect of that life should fit into whatever we have designed our life to be and want. And unfortunately, that really gets flipped around. We're defined by what we do for work. We do work more than we do anything else. We tend to kind of take that idea of mediocrity and just sticking with a career we don't like. And so it begins to overshadow life. And if instead you figure out what life you want to have, and you figure out how to design your career, your employment, your entrepreneurial endeavors to fit within it, then you are going to be looking at Mondays with opportunity and potential and as a fresh start, because you're going to be marinating on how cool it all is. And all the words can come into a bunch of statements there. But really, I feel like it's thinking about the life you want to have, designing a professional piece that supports it, and finding a way for all of that to have satisfaction so that you ditch the Sunday blues and actually embrace Mondays for what they have to offer.
We think back whenever we ask that question of all of our guests to think about Monday. It's also embracing the idea that you don't have to have that feeling of dread. Don't have the Sunday blues. Get excited about Monday.
Absolutely. You'll enjoy an extra 4 hours of your weekend if you do that. But the other thing, let's also be very realistic here, because I tend to be pretty kind of pragmatic in my approach to life and work and careers and all those things. The word perfect never comes up, because that is an unrealistic expectation. And there's a reason that the No More Mondays movement is about people who have found satisfaction and even joy in their work, but don't necessarily love what they do. You can love what you do, but that isn't necessarily the penultimate goal, because sometimes that's setting you up for that kind of perfectionist mentality that's just going to lead to disappointment. And if you kind of have a realistic goal of how that should all look together, you will have an ecosystem that's really satisfying and fulfilling and gives meaning to you in whatever definition of meaning is. And there you have it. Edition 2 of Winter Warmers, meant to inspire you to think about how you want to design life and career going into the new year. The new year is the best time to search for jobs. Obviously, it's when New Year's resolutions and all those kinds of things come into play. But I'm really going to encourage you to take all of the kind of thoughts that we've given you today, take this inspiration from the guests that we've had for season 2, and design some intention going into the new year during your time of reset this holiday season. Thank you so much for joining us for this special edition of No More Mondays, and I hope you have a great holiday season. Thanks for listening to this episode of No More Mondays. We hoped you grabbed some great insights to help you improve your professional satisfaction. Please visit us at Apple iTunes and give us a rating so we can continue to offer you awesome interviews and content each week. No More Mondays. New episodes drop every Wednesday. No More Mondays is brought to you by Career Benders, Inc. in partnership with executive producer Jane Durkee. For more information about career coaching, resume writing, personal branding, recruiting, and entrepreneurship coaching services, visit our website at careerbenders.com. That's Career Benders, B as in boy, S as in Sam.com. This is your host, Angie Callen, signing off. Until next week, when we chat with another inspired, confident professional.